there's a version of you that can think clearly, make quick decisions, and act with total confidence in whatever it is you're doing. But you haven't experienced that. Maybe it's been weeks or months or even years. Or maybe, just maybe, you've never experienced this version of yourself. And it's really starting to piss you off because deep down, you know you're capable of way more. This was me back in 2022. I'd secured my first full-time job just after graduating university, and I instantly knew that, hey, this is not for me. I was deeply appreciative and grateful of having a job that I actually liked, but I knew that, yeah, I want to do something more meaningful and fulfilling with my life. So I searched every business model, every idea for creativity and entrepreneurship. I tried 5 different things, and the first few did not work at all. Then I stumbled onto ghostwriting and email marketing, which did work out pretty well for me. Anyways, what I'm getting at here was that most of my time in those early years, mid to late 2022, early 2023, before I had that success in email marketing, I was in this trap of overthinking everything. Always planning out my next moves, always wondering if I should take this approach versus that approach. I, in my mind, thought I was being strategic. I thought I was being smart and intelligent and calculating. But ultimately, I was just standing in place, not really going anywhere at all. And then one day, everything shifted. This is what propelled me to take my email marketing business, which was big for me at that time, more seriously. I ran into this old classmate at the gym. And this is somebody who I hadn't seen in like 4 or 5 years. You see, this classmate, way back in high school, he was an idiot, plain and simple, all right? He was always getting in trouble, always running off smoking weed during the middle of the school day. He was just doing stupid shit. And it didn't look like his life was really going anywhere. So when I saw him that day pulling up to the gym in a brand new Mustang, looking jacked, I'm like, yo, this is not the same guy I went to school with 4 or 5 years ago. What the hell happened? So we got to talking and he's like, yeah, man, life at that time really wasn't looking good for me. I had no future trajectory and I thought I'd be dead by 21 years old. But now I was looking at him. He was 22 or 23 at the time. I was 22 at the time. I'm like, well, here you are. You're looking great, man. What really did you do? He's like, honestly, man, I just shut my brain off. And at first I had no idea what he meant by I just shut my brain off. Why would you want to shut your brain off? That doesn't seem to be helpful at all. So I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, at that time, I came to this crossroads. I could either keep partying and keep smoking weed and getting into trouble and doing all those stupid things I used to do, or I could decide what I wanted to do for my future. He's like, I decided, all right, I got to figure out what it is I want to do in my future. He told me for 4 or 5 months, he was in this cycle of overthinking, analyzing, assessing everything that might happen if he went this way or that way. And he got into this analysis paralysis, which is something that actually a lot of smart people experience. Now, I wouldn't look back and say this guy was that smart intellectually, but that's besides the point. So he said eventually, he just realized, you know what? I got to stop thinking and just do it. I simply got to take action right here, right now. And that's what he did. And as I went home that night after my workout, I began thinking, if I want to create this life that I enjoy living, if I want to go against the status quo and do things that are deeply meaningful and fulfilling to me, I just got to take action. I can't sit around planning everything meticulously, coming up with these grand ideas within my mind because that doesn't really matter. Now, of course, there's a time and place to step back from the noise and be strategic, all right? And I'm not telling you to be impulsive, but what I am saying is that you and I and 99% of people out there would benefit from simply turning their brain off and taking the first and most simple action they can take towards whatever goal they're moving towards. Now, yeah, of course, this is much easier said than done. And this probably isn't the first time you've heard this advice. You've probably heard dozens of times, maybe even hundreds of times of people telling you, just do it, just take action, be bold. So we got to discuss the main reasons why people fall into this overthinking trap. The main reasons why people get into that analysis paralysis where they're trying to be strategic and they're wondering about this and they're wondering about that, but they never actually end up taking action. There are, from what I can tell, 3 core reasons why this is. The first one is that they have this desire to get it right with whatever it is they're doing. Now, the reality is that time is valuable and your energy is super valuable too. Nobody wants to spend their time and energy doing something without knowing that it's going to work out. Plain and simple. You can spend 5 hours, 10 hours, or years working on this specific project for things that just shit the bed. And it sucks because you're like, what else can I do? I've exhausted my options. I'm at my wit's end, but you never really have exhausted your options. There's always more to learn. There's always more you could try. There's always somebody else who can help you with whatever it is you're trying to do. The best example of this would be my father. Back in 2010, 2011, he bought this hunk of metal. It was essentially this piece of shit 1965 Mustang. It had nothing to it. It was rotted. Terrible. He spent the next 10 to 12 years completely rebuilding this car from the ground up. If I can find a picture, I'll put it up here on the video so you can see it. It's amazing. The guy had no background with welding, no background on automotive, no background with rebuilding engines, nothing. No background with painting and sanding, but he did all of it. Wire the entire car. It's amazing. Hats off to him for that, for forever. I think that is the coolest thing I've ever seen anybody do. He wasn't afraid of not getting it right. He just knew that, okay, I need to continue taking action, and this is the only way I'll get past that barrier. And now he's flexing around in a damn near 500 horsepower 1965 Mustang. It's the coolest thing. Anyways, that's the first one. The first main barrier and reason why people overthink is that they have this desire to get it right. The second thing is fear of disapproval. Because ultimately, humans, we are tribal creatures. We want to fit in. We want to be and feel accepted by the tribe of people all around us. Now, when we mess something up, we'll look like an idiot. At least in our minds, we think, if I mess this up, people will think I'm stupid or I'm incompetent or that I'm not worthy. And the potential threat of being laughed at and shunned and pointed the finger at is super scary, all right? This is deeply ingrained within us because in past times, if you were laughed at and shunned and exiled from the group or the tribe you were in, that most certainly would have meant a death. Now, of course, messing up in modern times, especially if it's something related to business or your creative work or working towards that promotion at your job or whatever it is, it more than likely won't lead to death, all right? But your subconscious mind, which regulates your nervous system, it really can't tell the difference. It doesn't understand logic. All it understands is safety and security and you feeling like you belong within your environment. So that's the second reason why people overthink endlessly rather than just taking action. It's the fear of disapproval. Now, the third main reason why people overthink endlessly rather than taking action with the thing that they got to do is avoidance disguised as preparation. So this is a big one because, of course, the mind craves certainty. It wants to know that what you're about to do is going to work out. That's inevitable, right? But many of us get into this trap that we need to endlessly prepare, and that the more we prepare, the more we practice, the more likely we're going to nail that thing, whatever it is we said we're going to do. And yeah, sometimes this can be the case. There's no doubt that being prepared can really help. But subconsciously, your mind might be pulling you in the direction of avoidance. You might actually not really want to do that thing out of fear of judgment or being embarrassed or fear of failure. And you tell yourself consciously, yeah, I'm just planning, I'm just strategizing and trying to figure out my next steps with what it is I'm trying to do. But subconsciously, that's not the case. Look, I'm not saying you're going to be stupid. I'm not saying to be impulsive and make rash decisions. No, not one bit. But there's certainly power in shutting your brain off and simply taking that first action you got to take, all right? Because These deeply ingrained fears we have around being judged or being shunned for trying or wasting time and energy trying to do that thing that you really want to do doesn't matter. All these things are hypothetical. They're all in your head, all right? People are so wrapped up in their own worlds and worried about their own problems that if you try something bold that you really want to do and you mess up, people will very quickly forget. And for the people who do say negative things, the people who do judge you harshly and really let you know that, hey, you messed up and you're an idiot and you're not good enough, well, those people are saying that out of spite. They're saying that out of envy. What they don't like is the fact that you decided to take action where they sit there and they're terrified. They don't have the guts to take that action. They don't have the willingness. They don't have the drive and the desire to achieve whatever it is they want to achieve. They're paralyzed by fear. And that's why they'll negatively judge you. So rather than thinking of all the things that could go wrong if you decide to take action, shift gears. Focus on, all right, what could I gain from this? What opportunities might open up for me? Because when you start looking at things glass half full instead of glass half empty, then everything becomes an opportunity. Everything becomes something to conquer, something to achieve, something to better improve your life and the life of everybody else around you. That's a game changer. So, anyways, at this point, I'm getting redundant. I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.